So I guess we'll go ahead and jump into the 16-day forecast, and if we get time, we'll try to jump into the earthquake map. I don't know what's going on with Dutch Sense's YouTube channel. I know he's running over on Twitch, but I couldn't get the audio to work or nothing, so I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, here we go. We're going to go up 6 hours at a time. Make sure if I'm talking about your area, you write down the dates. That way you're going to have a heads up. Let me move this mic around so I can see a little better. You'll have a heads up on what's coming. And then what we do during the week, we watch the weather engineering programs, which actually tells us more accurately where this stuff is going. And then we'll factor in any kind of crazy weather warfare that's going on that might affect something different. But this thing's been accurate every single time. As long as you don't look at it through the week and you just do it every Sunday, it's pretty damn accurate. And here we go. So let's go on up. Right now we got heavy snow going. Washington, Oregon, rain in the south. We finally got that crazy storm off the coast. I mean, it's up there in Nova Scotia right now. So let's go up 6 hours. You got a mega wind event there at BC coming up through Montana, Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin, but Idaho, Montana. I mean, that's some crazy wind speeds right there, probably 80, 90 mile an hour winds. Got a little bit of storms going on in South Carolina here in the next 12 hours, and they're just going to kind of stay there. So for the next 24 hours, there's going to be a rain band that's not going to move. It'll be raining from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to the Atlantic Ocean in the exact same areas for like 12 hours. Some severe stuff in there. Then we got a next spinning system coming in the same area. This is the steering of the atmospheric rivers. We're going to go on up to this thing, really hit some mega stuff. We got a couple definitely strong systems. See how this thing is just staying here. There's going to be some flood areas down in the south. And here comes the winds. The winds are going to start coming across the plains, but still nothing too major for at least a few days. We're up into Wednesday, January 15th. Now here comes the system, the first wave. Look at the winds coming here off of BC. We're talking mega winds, and it looks like a cyclone coming in, like an outer band of a cyclone hitting Northern California, Southern Oregon, with torrential rain. Be looking for mudslides, heavy snows. And look at this thing. This is going to be just like a hurricane hitting the West Coast. And you just got intense winds now. You'll be looking at 80, 90 inches of snow up in the BC area. Still raining in the south, southeast. This is January 16th. So you just see that. Look, tons of snow for California, some rain for California, rain for Arkansas, a little bit of cold stuff up into the northeast. But look at the wind. All these real tight black lines are the high winds. The tighter the lines, the higher the winds. And here's where it'll start getting interesting. So here comes the pressure that just come off the Pacific. You got all the winds crashing down in here. The pressure's finally off, but then you got, mad geoengineering going on down here in the Bajas. Most likely they'll be spraying out here in the Gulf of Mexico, but what we got to watch is there's going to be a mega ice storm for Iowa right here, parts of Kansas. So this is Friday, January 17th. Let's go up a little bit later in the day Friday. And look at this ice storm, sleet and ice covering the whole state of Iowa. Flooding rains for Missouri, which were already flooding again. And then you got just wind. If you're in the snow line, then you're having a blizzard. Super heavy, severe storms for Missouri, Illinois. And this thing's going to start wrapping up, man. This is going to be a pretty wicked storm. Now, the polar vortex there should be a little closer. So if you're up in the upper north, man, it's going to be brutal cold, which we'll take a look at them temperature maps. So this ice storm is going to be no joke. More tornadoes here on the 18th, Saturday going into January 18th. Tornadoes possible for Arkansas, southern Missouri, Indiana, Ohio. Ice at first and then the snow. And here comes the next wave hitting the west coast, while this big old monster of a storm is tracking the exact same path as the last storm. So look at this thing, man. This thing is going to be another nor'easter, pretty much, or maybe even a bomb cyclone. We'll see if that pressure drops to meet their criteria. But you're going to have a big time wind event. Look at this. Boston's going to flood out. Excuse me there. Boston's going to be getting flooded out. Then you're going to have waves crashing in. Nova Scotia is going to get hammered. And you got like crazy amount of moisture going up into northern Washington. I mean, we're up. The colors are almost reaching off the chart. So this is going to be the next system to watch on the 19th. And it's going to die out. They must going to be stalling that out. There's going to be another one coming up here. Going into Tuesday, January 21st. More rain for the south. Nothing too major. Till here. This is still January 22nd on Wednesday. The storms are going to start forming because now they're bringing up all the aerosols that were being deployed is going to start mixing with the aerosols that they'll be putting in the Gulf of Mexico. And this is going to create a mean system. Luckily, the winds won't be as bad, but you're going to have severe flooding in the south. And look, ice storms all the way down into Georgia. Snow and ice all the way down into Georgia. This is on January 23rd, the Thursday. Severe weather for Florida. And I mean, it's just staying here for like 12 hours. So this is going to be a major deal down here. This all stays sleet and ice. We're going to be looking at some major power outages going into Friday, January 24th. And look at that. Then it starts tracking up to North Carolina, into Virginia. Now, this is going to turn into one of them bombogenesis, one of them bomb cyclones. As soon as it gets to the coast, it's going to really wrap up. And then guess who's the target again? Boston. This is going to be like a hurricane flowing into Boston. And it's just going to tighten up. And then Nova Scotia is going to get creamed along with the upper northeast. This is going to be a major storm, major wind event. I mean, look, as the farther it goes north, the worst of a blizzard it gets. So Argentina just got hit with a 5.3. And then we're going to get a little bit of a break. We'll see. A little bit of severe storms for Texas going into January 27th. A little bit of ice there in Oklahoma. Severe weather for Louisiana on the 27th. Then it's going to head right down towards Mississippi. If that stays offshore, it'll be okay. But look here, coming into the Panhandle and parts of Florida, you got major storm. This is going to be another springtime storm. Look, ice again in the very same place. Light snow in the Midwest, but you got the winds. And that's far out as we can go. So hopefully you wrote down the dates for your area. Let's go ahead and check the total accumulated precipitation. This will show you where the targets for the flooding is. So right there, if this varies a little bit, you're looking at Louisiana, Texas, some flooding, definitely some flooding there in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. Then all up in the upper northeast, you're going to get high amounts. But look at the amounts up here off of British Columbia, parts of Washington. I mean, you're up to the feet. Let's go ahead and check we could check the snow amounts. That's the moisture. Now we'll check the snow amounts. So it's kind of hard to tell right there by Boston, but north of Boston, you're looking 19, 20 inches. Look down here in the Carolinas, 9, 10 inches of snow. 15 inches of snow there in the mountains at New Mexico and Colorado. Look at some of these amounts over here in Oregon, Washington, 67 inches, 55 inches, 90 inches up there. I bet there's a bunch more than that as you go up a little bit farther north. Now let's go ahead and check the temperatures. See where we're at with the polar vortex. Let me back that up. Now, this is going to be a big thing coming up with the polar vortex. You know, I told you that thing's got a slingshot back from Europe and Greenland and get over here. I mean, these are some pretty cold temperatures for the Dakotas, Minnesota. I mean, you're looking at minus 17, minus 20. This is on the 11th. Actually, that was yesterday. All right, now we're up into today. So let's just kind of go through here till we see that super cold. Like the pinks, man, that's the super cold. That's the Arctic cold. So it looks like it's right at the Canada-U.S. border on the 14th. Here in a couple days, you know, you're looking at minus 32, minus 39. Right here, here's going to be a first really cold blast. I mean, you're looking at minus 30 in North Dakota, minus 21 in Minnesota, parts of Nebraska or South Dakota. We'll see how far down that gets. Okay, that's about as far as it gets. So it still doesn't look like they have that thing totally over the United States yet, because that's when they're going to crash down the super Arctic cold. And if they have the atmospheric rivers being pulled in like they just did with this last storm, and then they mix that, merge that with this super cold, we're talking biblical snow amounts. I mean, it'll be Snowmageddon 2020. So that's what we got to keep. It looks like it's not going to hit yet. I mean, you're still getting some of the super cold, but it's still staying pretty far up north. So far, this looks like about the coldest day right here. You know, far down to Iowa, you're looking at minus 11 in the southern part of Iowa, minus 25 in the northern part. And it kind of retreats a little bit. So we're still a little ways out from them shifting that. Let's go look at the earth null real quick. Now, we've seen exactly how they did this last year. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at the temperatures up in the troposphere. I mean, way up here, the stratosphere, high as I can get here. Take the winds off. They've been doing a heating event here. I'll back this up so you can see what I'm talking about. Same thing like the ISCAT can do, the Hart facilities. So you got this heating event right here. See, this is heating. Here's the United States. So they're heating this up over here in the Russia area. You know, I showed you all the different ionospheric heaters, the scatter radars and all that. Then you got the ISCAT right over here. But what they're doing, they're pushing this cold air mass. And what's going to happen, it's like a rubber band on a slingshot. They push that cold one, it's going to snap back and bring it back. Let's take it forward and see what happens. So once the heating shoots off, look, they turn the heater off. And here comes the cold air. It's starting to crash down now. Now we're looking at some super cold temperatures. Minus 114.1. You know, at the Arctic circles, minus 101.8. So, yeah, now the really cold's starting to go. See if I can go up another day. That's all I can go is up a few days. So there's the super cold air. There's no heating going on except for down here over Antarctica. So, yeah, so now you got the super cold air. Right here, 111.7 down right off the coast of Alaska. So once they squeeze this thing down, it looks like it's going to be a, another week or two before they can really get this super cold air mass parked over the United States. Then we're going to see some crazy weather. Then they're going to blame it on the climate crisis and all that stuff. While we're here, we haven't checked. Let's go ahead and check the ocean waves. And be safe out there, man. No fear, armor up. That's all you got to do is armor up. Speak out, no fear, and see if we can make a difference. Anyway, guys, much love. Here we go. Let's play this song called Rise.